How's everybody doing tonight? I was looking at someone commented on the Roker AK-47 video, so I took a look at it and I was kind of like in shock. It looked 10 times better than the videos lately on my channel, and there was a couple of weeks where I was experimenting with using a diffuser on the light, and I think those videos, the AK-47 videos, were filmed when the diffuser was on. So I have to get back to using a diffuser, and then the videos will look good. And I was thinking to do it tonight, but as you see, I'm already like 35 minutes late, and where I used to put the diffuser, right now the Roker 3D pinball machine is sitting, so I'm not really set up to do it today, but like, I think it was in particular, yeah, when I was going to this camera, it was looking like beautiful when the diffuser was on. It's kind of crap right now. And I think also another issue, something like, I think it's this camera. Yeah, I think that camera's too high. I think I raised the height of it when we were doing the pinball, and it's time to put it back low again. We're not doing pinball anymore. And although we will be doing the castle, so when we get up to the heights of the castle, we'll raise that up again, but it doesn't need to be done right now. And I think also I'm keeping these boards. They're so huge, and I had them like over here, but they would take up most of the space. So I think I can't do that. I think I need to get the boards like off the table, which will probably lead to some delays in like working with the boards, but we have to do it because they just don't look right. Like, they just like take up too much space, and they take away the black background. Basically, I'm trying to make this look better. So the first, I guess, 2 episodes of this, I'm going to claim that today is going to look better than those 2 episodes, but it's not going to look as good as when I used to have a diffuser. So I'm already looking into how I can get a diffuser without it taking like 3 minutes to set up, which is what the previous one took. And I can't leave it set up because this is my desk. I mean, I can't. I have to be able to set up and break down this entire studio in like 5 minutes. If I can't do that, then it's not going to work. All right. Well, the close-up cam looks good. Maybe let's try to rely on that. All right. So it says page 4. And these are huge instruction pages, so they go slow. All right, it looks like 4. You don't see what I see yet. Let me show you. So this is page 4 in the instructions. That's where we need to start today. And what they're showing is basically all these pieces that we built. We're going to like put them into, they're all going to go together basically. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 gear pieces and this brains piece, or whatever you want to call it. And then there's the this like floor, I guess you would call it. Anyway, we're going to put these all together. That's what the instructions call for. That's the first instruction on page 4. It's basically put this stuff together. So I guess let's do that. I don't know if anything is going to make them stay there. Are they going to drop through? It's a little confusing. All right, first let's get the orientation correct. So they're kind of holding it like this. Oh, that looks so washed out. Now I feel like we desperately need that diffuser. But for, we'll get it tomorrow. Tomorrow the diffuser will be back. All right, so trying to match the orientation from the instructions. This is how we're doing it. We got the player piano back here, sort of back and to the right. So the furthest circle over here, that's where the brains go. What I don't know is like, am I supposed to spin it? Like, is it gonna spin, or is it gonna just sit there? I guess it's gonna spin based on the other gears that get put next to it. All right, so the bottom like circle There's a bunch of circles on here, and the bottom one is smaller than the one before it. So it seems like it just goes in a little bit, which leaves it sticking out a little bit on the bottom. I don't know that, we're going to keep working with this. That's sticking out a little bit, right? I mean, does that make sense? Is there going to be another floorboard that goes underneath and that tab is going to go into it? I don't know. I'm just following the instructions. I don't know what's going to happen, but let's just keep lining these pieces up. I feel like I need to make this like taller a little bit because of those pieces sticking out the bottom. So like I need to make this taller so that things can stick out the bottom. I think so anyway. Let's try that. See how that goes. All right, so the first spot next to the brains goes this sparse gear. It's looks like it's a 7-spoke gear. And it's again got that system at the bottom where like the last circle is like smaller than the other circles. That camera is looking terrible tonight. That's worse. All right, there we go. That's a little better. All right, so the circle at the bottom is smaller, so that's going to drop in there. So that's probably going to be how this whole thing works. Wherever's the smaller circle, that's what drops in. I don't see any smaller circle here. All right. So I'm not even sure. It's tough to follow these lines, like which gear goes where. You know what? It's going to be easier if we just look at what it looks like finished. Yeah, that's actually easier than trying to read those lines. Just what is it going to look like when it's finished? And let's make it look like that. So I can already tell you there's a problem here. This gear is missing 2 pieces. And I know exactly which 2 pieces because we've got them right here. And we were checking the instructions yesterday, and it didn't seem like they told us to put those 2 pieces on. But now you see in this finished version, they're there. I don't think we put them on here, do we? No. All right, let's go back to when we built this. Yeah, here it is. I'm scrolling back in the instructions to show when this is built. And they never put those gears on. Look. There it is. Looks just like we have it. But then you scroll a page ahead and you look at it here, it's still not there. But then you follow the arrow and you look at it what it looks like finished, and now those 2 pieces are there. I mean, come on. Like, when did they get there? I mean, we're going to put them on right now. But, like, clearly that's a problem with the instructions. So I'm going to advance the piece counter to 70. And I'm going to put these 2 pieces on, and I'm going to sand and wax them, because that's, like, a normal thing to do. So let me grab my sand and my wax. And let me pop out these 2 pieces. And we're going to add them, even though the instructions never said to. Because they were on this board, which meant that they were part of that construction. Remember how these boards work. All the pieces go together on one little pop-out board. We definitely need that light diffuser. Now I'm like noticing how everything is like washed out, even on the close-up camera. Anyway, we'll soon have the diffuser tomorrow. So they never told us to use these pieces, but we knew that we were supposed to. And now we have confirmation from looking at what it's supposed to look like when built. We also know that it's a gear, so it needs to be waxed. I'm waxing both the faces and the gears. I'm waxing both, and on the circle, the edges and the edges and the faces. Gears in the faces and edges and faces. We're waxing everything. If it's there, we're waxing it. And then we're going to drop it onto this piece here. There's no direction to that gear. Just stick it on there. And then this, just kind of a locking nut. Again, no direction. I had an idea today. I don't know how crazy it might be. Is, you know how I use those cards? Like, so actually the comment I had. All right, let me just show you this piece on there. So now the two pieces have been added. And now we drop it back in here. So now it's got two gears. Now, will it affect those brains? No. The tab on the brains passes right through that. I don't know what's going on with those brains. Oh, you can't see it because my hand's too big. Anyway, there's the brains. There's the... Everything's kind of slanted right now. Maybe it's going to make more... Maybe it is going to turn it, but there needs to be like more... These things need to be locked in. They're kind of wobbly right now because they're connected only on one side. When they get connected on both sides, they'll probably make more sense. So we still got 3 more gears to connect. 1, 2. I'm just trying to match the way they have them. And then 3. I think this is the trickiest one. Okay, no, this is not tricky. This just goes right here. All right, that actually was quite easy. All right, this one goes on the other side of this piece. This one. And yes, our fan blade is going the right direction. So is this going to play the piano? Seems like it, right? So when this gear spins, that piano player goes. But I don't hear any sound from the... Oh, there it is. I was trying to get the mic in there so you can hear it. Anyway, this gear turns the handle that plays the player piano. That might be multiple songs, but I think it's a church hymn, which I think is a great sign for the story that I was going to start telling. So the comment on my video was like about one of the personal stories. Like when I was doing the AK-47 video, I was telling a lot of personal stories. You know, rather than using like trivia cards to fill the empty space when you have to do repetitive building tasks. And then today I had like the brilliant idea that maybe I'm not going to use the trivia cards or tell personal stories. Like maybe I'm going to read passages from the Bible and then talk about those, specifically the New Testament. So I'm like thinking about that, and then someone comments like that they like my personal stories. I'm just testing that. I'm just listening to that song again. So, you know, sometimes people think, and probably rightly so, that, you know, God can hear them and respond to them. Unfortunately, I think it sometimes works the opposite way as well. It's kind of like that angel and devil on your shoulders, like, you know, angel on one shoulder and devil on the other. It's like you get a good idea, and then someone convinces you it's not a good idea. So I don't know, someone's saying they like my personal stories during buildings, and I feel like that's kind of saying, like, don't start reading the Bible and commenting on it. But I might still do that because, I mean, Bible's like a 2,000-year-old book. I mean, I think that people who say don't read it, it's like, why is this the only book you're not supposed to read? I think it's wrong. I think we shouldn't be suppressing it, the Bible. I think it should be read more. So I'm not guaranteeing that I'm going to start doing that, but I might. Right now, the book I'm reading is the instruction book. And I'm kind of confused because I see these 3 boxes that look the same. Are they the same? No, they're not. The numbers are different. They kind of look the same, but there are at least three different. I'm just checking to see if anyone has a ×2 on them. Because when I look down at the full construction, it shows 4 of whatever those are. 4 of those things, but there's 3 boxes, which means one of them has to have a ×2. I think it's this middle one here. This middle one here has lines that go to 2. Like the first one has a line that goes to 1. The third one has a line that goes to 1. The middle one has a line that goes to 2. So Wood Trick, the producers of this puzzle, didn't use the convention that Roker or Ugears would, which is writing ×2 after a construction. But what they've done is they've drawn a line to 2 different pieces, which is fine. I mean, we're not idiots, so we'll do that. All right, so I think we'll do the 2 singles first, and then we'll do the one that takes 3 at the end. So what boards do we need here? It looks like 1, 2. It looks like they're calling for like 4 boards there. 4, 3, 5, and 6, and 7. They're calling for 5 boards. Wow. The only thing that's going on this whole page is constructing those 4 little whatever. They look like window screens or something, screen windows. So constructing those 4 windows requires 5 boards. Board 4, board 3, board 5, board 6, and board 7. This is crazy because I don't want to have those boards like taking up my building area. I have like limited space here, and those boards are huge. So I think what I'm going to do is pop out the pieces from each board and then put it back into storage. So board 7 looks like it needs 4 pieces. Those 4 sort of backing pieces, which are... This is ridiculous. Those 4 pieces that it shows on 7 are not shown on the instruction page. Like, am I crazy? These pieces are not there. It shows a screen and a punch out. Are these screens? Yeah, I guess these are the screens. Okay, so board 7 has the 4 screens. So let's go grab those from board 7 and let's increment our counter to 74 pieces. All right, so now while I'm collecting pieces, this is like exactly the time when I would normally tell a story or, as we've been talking, read a Bible quote. I'm not prepared to do either of those tonight, so let's just do one of these questions. William Shakespeare accomplished a famous first in vaccines, true or false? A first in vaccines. William Shakespeare was involved in vaccines. I thought like Jonas Salk did the polio vaccine. Madame Curie did penicillin. That's not a vaccine though. And I'm not even sure it was Madame Curie. Who did... what the hell did Shakespeare have to do with vaccines? I don't even understand the question. And by the way, I ripped the box that all these boards are in. I went to grab it. The box tipped over. I'm trying not to keep the box up on the, where we work. But as a result, it's like on the floor. And it's tilted sideways. And I'm like sliding the boards out As if they're like vinyl records. All right, I just pulled out 3 of them at once. Let's see if they're 5, 6, and 7. There's 6. There's 7. And that's not 5. All right, I got to dive back in to find board 7. While we keep thinking about what the hell Shakespeare could possibly have to do with vaccines. Well, we could just say false. But I feel like they brought up the question. They must have had some reason that they brought this up. Like, did they have vaccines in Shakespeare's time? I don't think so. When was the bubonic plague? That was before Shakespeare's time. Now, bubonic plague. I guess if your family bloodline survived the bubonic plague, I mean, if you're from Europe, then your family did. If you're from another continent, then they probably didn't. So why is that not more of a fear? Okay, I'm getting a little off track with that one. Right. The pieces from board 7 are 260. It's 4 260s. It's four pieces that are all named 260. All right, 5, 6, 7. What did Shakespeare do? The Tempest, Hamlet. Look at that splinter. Does that even qualify as a splinter? That's like a whole piece of wood. I'm going to push them out from the back. The other 260s. So, Taming of the Shrew, Romeo and Juliet. Are these all Shakespeare plays? I'm trying to think. The Tempest, Hamlet. Which is the one where the guy talks to like a skull? Or is that what Shakespeare himself did? I think it was maybe Hamlet. Also, Shakespeare in the Park. Do people really do Shakespeare in the Park, or is that like a joke? I don't know. Shakespeare in the Park. So what, Central Park? Look at that splinter. All right, we got the 4 260s. I'm not sure which is the front. Okay, I think I am sure. It looks like there's a little ink on one side, and there's no ink on the other side. I'm not sure which side is considered out. Is it out? I guess it's facing out on the castle, because we always do ink side out when we do these. So right now they're all ink side up. All right. So that was board 7. It looks like board 3 also just has 4 pieces, and it's 218. Yeah, it's 218 on all 4. So that brings us up to 78 pieces. So what did I say? Board 3? Okay. So board 3. I don't see those pieces. Well, I guess that wasn't board. I guess it wasn't board 3. I think it's board 5. Those pieces are on board 5. Okay. Here's board 5. All right, so there's the 218s, but there's a problem. They have 186s inside of them. The 218s have piece 186 inside of them. And 186 is not needed right now. So I'm going to pop all 4 out, but we're going to all 4 218s out. But then we're later going to need to also pop out, what was it, 158 or something like that? 186, sorry, 186. We have to pop those out and just like put them in storage. Like we don't need them yet. And these are going to need sandpapering again. What's that?
How's the stream today?
Well, it's kind of like, look at this. Do you notice anything weird about this piece?
It looks like a thermometer.
Right, but look at this huge splinter.
Oh, yeah.
This is a new company, Wood Trick, and we're going to make this huge castle. Oh, let me show you one cool thing. So the bad thing is they're not cut well and there's huge splinters, but there's one cool thing. Check this out.
Gears. Oh, it makes sounds. I heard that. I wonder what it was.
Yeah, it's like a tiny player piano. You know, like in those Western movies, they have that piano that plays, self-plays. It's a little tiny one of those.
Okay.
So I think that's going to be cool. But we're pretty early stages in this thing. Yeah. Might take a week or 2.
Oh. That's a big project.
Yep. Alright, so you heard the recap there and my thoughts. That was my son Nick. We're bringing him to college soon, which is very scary, but also very exciting. I think that the cafeteria, I mean, there's a lot of things like, it's just really cool when you go away to college. It sort of depends what college you go to. Like, I had friends who went to SUNY's, and the cafeteria system at the SUNY is horrible. I mean, you basically have to pay for all your food. But at other colleges, like the one I went to and the one he's going to, you get a meal plan that covers, I think it's 19 meals. So like on the weekdays, it's 3 meals per day, and on the weekends, it's brunch and dinner. And you just go in there and you just eat whatever you want. Like the only thing is, so like at the SUNY, you could go at like any hour, but you had to pay for your food. Whereas at this other colleges, you got to go when they're serving the food, but you can eat whatever you want and how much of it you want. And, you know, and there's things that are always there. Like there's always salad bar at lunch and dinner. There's always like waffle maker and cereal at breakfast. It's like, you know, and maybe the breakfast is there 24/7. And then I think something new they didn't have in my day, but he's going to have, is the meal plan includes like his ID card works like a debit card. So there are some other places he can go and he'll have money to spend on meals. Did I pop out the wrong piece? No, 218, that's good. But I got to pop the middles out of those. So it's a little different than it was in my day. It's probably better, you know. All right, I'm going to pop these out. Oh, man, I got sand on the inside. You know, I don't think that really needs to be sanded, that inside. I'll do it. I'll do a little quick sanding job, but it doesn't look... I mean, it's not a gear, but we don't want to be super sloppy, so we'll sand it. Oh, okay, Shakespeare, yeah. What about Shakespeare? What was he up to? Okay, I think, you know, using game theory, I think that the answer is going to be true. But using my opinion theory, I think the answer is false. I don't think Shakespeare had anything to do with vaccines. But the fact that they asked the question makes me think that the answer is true. So I'm going to say true. But I have no idea what they're going to claim that Shakespeare had anything to do with vaccines. Whatever they claim, I'm going to call BS on it. But who knows? Maybe it's going to be good and I won't. Let's see. Let's check it out. Let's look at the card. What did Shakespeare have to say about vaccines? True, but not that William Shakespeare, not that William Shakespeare, 81-year-old William Shakespeare of Coventry, UK, was the first man to receive the approved coronavirus vaccine in 2020. The great playwright is not known to have been vaccinated. Wow, so, okay, we were kind of right. And I'm not objecting because it's a different William Shakespeare. So we guessed that the answer would be true, but that William Shakespeare, the playwright, had nothing to do with vaccines. And that turned out to be true. It's just this William Shakespeare guy had the same name and he took some vaccine. Okay. I actually would quibble with that because, as I understand the coronavirus vaccine, I think there were some of them that were vaccines. I think the Johnson & Johnson one was a vaccine, but I think a lot of them were mRNA injections, which is not the traditional definition of a vaccine. I know that they were called vaccine, but I don't know that you can just call things vaccine. I mean, you can, but, you're kind of like misusing the language. All right, so we need two 225s, two 91s. So really we also need 100 and 92, but really let's focus on the 225s for a second. I think we need 8 of them. We need 8 copies of the piece 225. So what board is that on? It almost looks like a musical note. Oh my goodness, it's on 2 different boards, on board 5 and 6. All right, we need 8 copies of 225, and it appears on 2 different boards. I think it's 5 and 6, those boards. I'm not really sure. There's a lot going on. Did we already work with boards 5 and 6? We already worked with one of those boards. We still got 6 here. We got 4, 3, and 6 here. So I'm kind of confused. Yeah, I don't know. We're just going to look for those pieces. Maybe I have to go back to board 5. Why did I think we were done with board 5? Yeah, we are done with board 5. These are all on board 6. Yeah, they're all on board 6. All 8 of them are on board 6. I don't know where I came up with board 5. All right, so there's 8 of that piece, which was, what was it? 225. So that brings us moves us from 78 to 86 pieces. And now I gotta find 8 225s on board 6. This is board 6. Oh my goodness. I almost lost a piece. Why does this piece fall right out? Why does this piece fall right out? There's so many pieces, little tiny pieces coming out with splinters, and then these huge pieces are falling right out the board. All right, let's get the 225s. Normally we like to push from the back, but there's like, these things are spread all over. And I don't want to punch out the wrong piece. Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, you heard me saying that's the problem with this puzzle, is those pieces are not coming out. And they come out and then they need to be sanded. And what's happening here is I'm punching out those 240s and 241s, which are these very inked pieces here. I'm like punching those out unintentionally. Wow. And I'm not getting the pieces that I need. All right, I got 4 of them, so there's 4 more to go. 225, right? I don't see any more 225s, so maybe they do come from 2 boards. Oh, okay. Here they are. They're over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need 4 more 225s. All right, I'm going to try to get these ones from the back, because from the front, that wasn't working. These kind of look like 3M whiteout dispensers. If you've ever seen those whiteout little strips that you run against a piece of paper, this is from the old days. If you were typing and you wanted to typing onto a piece of paper and you wanted to remove it, you used whiteout. They also did it for in the legal industry for redacting, which I don't know how secure that really is. I guess as long as you photocopy it afterwards, then it's secure, but I don't think a piece of 3M tape is going to stop someone who really wants to find out what's underneath it. But if you then photocopy it, then I guess it's gone. Redactions are, it sounds like red action, but it's nothing to do with that. It's in a court case. You have a document. Well, you probably are familiar with this. Like when they release like secure documents, like evidence documents, they'll say like they released the FBI report on whoever, and they'll say, but it's all redactions. Like sometimes they'll do it totally like disingenuously, like they'll redact the entire page. But it's supposed to be the redaction is just like this person's not relevant, or this person's like credit card number was in the document, so we're going to redact it. Something like that, but it ends up being a little different. All right. It's not always different. Sometimes ends up different. We still got two boards, board 3 and board 4. And we still need two 91s, four 100s. No, two 91s and six 100s. So, two 91s and six 100s. All right. I guess they're on boards 3 and 4. Two 91s and six 100s. Now, how am I going to tell the 91s from the 100s? So, like, so far it's like pretty good, right? Like, we're just like, we're like shuffling these out, right? Everything's hunky-dory. We're just, everything's copies. But it's about to change. Well, for 3 of the pieces, it's not going to change. For the 3 100s, it's going to be like all the same. But one board, and let's make it this set, is going to get 91s. So we're going to put the 91s here, and the other 3 will get the 100s. I see a 100 right here. So there's, yeah, I see 91s as well. Where's the 100 go? I like zoomed in to show you the 100. Oh, the 100's way over here. There's the 100. But what we really want at this moment is those 91s. That's the unique ones. We're going to put that in the first pairing. Punch them out from the back. Hopefully less splinters that way. I don't know, really, though. That's what's slowing down this puzzle is the splinters. It's not only slowing down preparing each set of pieces, but it's like the table gets full of splinters. I don't want to touch it. All right, there's the 91s. Yeah, but let's deal with the splinters before we put them in there. It's not a gear, so I'm just going to take off big splinters. When it's a gear, you really got to sand it and smooth it, but this is not a gear. So now everything else gets a 100. One of these 100s is on board 3, and the others are all on board 4, I believe. All right, so there's one 100. Oh my goodness! Why when I need a piece, is it impossible to get out, and then when I just touch a piece, it pops out? Why is that? Like, all these big fancy pieces just pop out like effortlessly, but all these little pins I like can't get out. They come out with like, so this huge piece, this will just pop right out without me even trying, and it's got 0 splinters on it. And then I need this like little tiny piece or gear, and it'll come out with 2 huge splinters on it. Alright, so here's some 100s. So I think we need 5 more 100s. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's the 5th one? Well, it's got to be here somewhere. Is it in something that already popped out? Well, I don't know where it is, but maybe it's on board 3, which I just like removed from consideration, but maybe I'll grab it and take another look. One, 2, 3. I'm giving less darns. I mean, I don't want pieces to break. I know that's really bad when they do, but this puzzle is just going too slow. Like, something needs to happen to speed it up. Alright, I'm rechecking board 3 to see if I missed a 100. I see a 92. We do need a 92. So, we didn't need 6 100s. We needed 5 100s and a 92. But that means we need to know where the 92 goes. And I'm going to say that the 92 goes on the right side because that matches the instructions. So I'm going to move the 100 here. So now the 2 middles have 100s. And I'm going to put the third 100. No, I'll keep it here because that's consistent. And I'll put the 92 above. Because that kind of tells me 92 is less than 100. Alright. We're finally ready to snap these stupid pieces together. Alright. Let's do first thing first. The one on the left. So, what do we got to do here? 218. Which way does the screen go? Can't tell. Alright. How does it get installed? Okay. Based on the way it gets installed and following our rule of ink side out, this should face the arch because this side has the ink. You see those X's? The other side doesn't have the X's. There's the ink. So that means that the 218 is going to go on this side. So it's going to face out. It's kind of like a window, I think, maybe. Alright, so anyway. Now that we've got this sorted out, then these two 91s, they're going to hold them together, at least at the bottom. Alright, get that in there. Okay. It's actually pretty easy to piece to put together. The hard time was spent like just selecting the pieces, but now that we got them selected, we just shove them in there. Alright, went pretty easy. Alright, that looks pretty good. And now at the top goes the 225s. I just knocked these other pieces out. We'll double check those before we put them back together. Make sure we got them right. Now this circle piece, the one that looks like the 3M tape dispenser, it goes in. Something's not right about this piece. Like, oh, okay. This is how it goes. So, yeah, that's right. That's the way it goes in. Be careful. It's I would say you could mess this piece up because it has those two tabs at a right angle. It's kind of like tricky as to which direction it goes. Beside looking at it to determine which way it goes, besides looking at it installed, I think if you look at the pins, they're a little different. This one with the split down the middle, that's the one that goes in. So one has a split down the middle and the other doesn't. The split is what goes in here. And then the tapered part goes into this arch or window frame, whatever you want to call it. And then the fatter part goes into that like screen section. All right. Now that that's built, where does that go? It shows like a red line here going to this piece, and then it shows green lines going, I think, to here. But there's a lot going on down here. All right, I think it's there's 3 pins down here, and that doesn't really match what I'm looking at. Let's zoom in. Wow, yeah, that's crazy. It's showing like those 3 corner pieces, but that doesn't make sense. Oh no, that's not what it's showing. All right, I'll tell you what it's showing. These 3 pieces. 1, 2, 3. That should line up. Does it? Do I even have this right side up? Let's take a look. Yeah, the circle 3M pieces go at the top. All right, let's get these 3 pieces in there. The reason why I'm being careful with this is because all those gears are hooked in like only at the bottom. And I feel like shoving this thing in there is going to make all those gears fall out, which is what just happened. So let's just take all these gears out until we get all these sides on, because they're just going to fall out every time. We're going to redo them at the end. Until they get locked in by something, they're just going to keep falling out. So we sort of proved that we had all the pieces and that they can be put in there, but it's not time to put them in yet. They're going to fall out if we do. All right, so now let's build this right side section, because the 2 middle sections, they're like twins, they're identical. So let's do the right side. I just lost the image here. All right, here it is. Here's the right side. So 218, 260, 100. The 92 is the part that's different. The 92 goes here. So the screen goes on top. The screen goes behind the arch. And the 92 goes on this side. We put the 92 up here. If you ask me how the 92 and the 100 are different, let me take a look here if I can spot the difference. I can't guarantee that I can. That's the 92. And this is the 100. Okay, yeah, it's a pretty obvious difference. The 92 doesn't have that part. What that part is, probably a shelf or something. I'm not really sure, but anyway, the 92 goes here. Doing the 92 first. Okay. Okay, got that. Boom. All right. And then the the 225s go at the top. How many times can you bench 225? That's one of the at the NFL Combine. That's one of the things they do. You know, they do like the 40-yard dash and the standing broad jump. One of the things they do is bench 225 for how many reps. And you'd be surprised how low those numbers are. There's like guys who can't do 10 reps with 225. And the amount of guys that can do like 15 is very low. I think the record might be like 40 or 50, but it's very rare that guys do that. It's like most of them between 5 and 15. NFL football players. Can you believe that? I remember the U.S.'s like second best shot putter is this guy Joe Kovacs. And I remember once they asked him, how many reps can you do of 225? And he said, 225? I don't know. I can do 315 for 50. So he's doing shot putter does 315 for 50 reps. He doesn't know how many does 225. That's like if you asked, you know, a regular person, like how many reps can you do, like, I guess 135. 135 is not a bad question to ask. I feel like 95. Like, you know, if you asked a regular person, like, how many reps can you do with 95? They're like, why would I be benching 95? There's a video of Robert Kennedy Jr., RFK Jr., who's currently running for president. All right, let me just explain quickly. So these two are twins. They're, you know, the hundreds go at the bottom, the 225s go at the top. So RFK Jr., there's a video of him. It's shot from profile, and he's doing reps of 95 in incline bench. I guess it's shot in profile, so you know that it's incline bench. Anyway, I didn't count how many reps he did, but, you know, he posted it of 95, so I guess that's what he works out with. I remember it was a while ago, I was, this was a long time ago. It was like right after I was out of college. I was training with these javelin guys in Connecticut. I think maybe DiStefano might have been the guy's name. Anyway, I remember going to the gym with them. And these are like, you know, javelin guys that compete at nationals. And I did 10 reps of 185 in incline, you know, incline bench. So like what Robert Kennedy Jr. was doing for 95. And people were like impressed. They're like impressed that I did 10 reps of 185. And these were like athletes, like competing at javelin at nationals. So I guess that shows you what sort of, you know, skill or what sort of strength javelin takes. It takes flexibility. It takes speed. It takes some sort of strength, but I guess not incline bench press strength. That's maybe more of a shot putter or a discus exercise. Like they're like 185 for 10. They were impressed with that. Anyway, that was fun. I was probably the worst javelin thrower in that group, by the way. I should be clear. I floated around a lot in my events. I started at jumping, briefly did sprinting, hurdling, throwing, and then decathlon was for a long time my favorite, but where I ended up in college was as a thrower. Even though I was so light compared to other throwers, it just it basically fit my schedule. Like, you know, I could do whatever I wanted. Basically, as a thrower, like, there was no throwing coach. It was just, you know, if you knew how to throw, you can throw. And if you threw well, you would win. But if you didn't, there was not really anyone to help you. You know, there probably are at some colleges, but not at the ones I went to. Did I do these right? I'm sort of worried that because I started chatting. I was chatting because it was repetitive, doing 2 of these in a row, and they're similar to the ones we did previously. I think what we need to do next is get this one in, the one that has the 92. I gotta get that in place, because then these other ones will just go in these two twins will just go in the whatever spaces are left. So let's see where this 92 goes. So the one on the right, which includes a 92, follow that red arrow. It goes, and then you have to follow the green, and it goes down to this right side. So I think kind of right here, maybe like these 3 holes. I think 1, 2, 3. I think that's where it goes. Let's see if it fits in. Not so easy to get in. Wow, the back is not in. Come on. Okay, that looks good. Well, it looks like something. It looks like it's in. Actually, it's in better. The second one's in better than the first one. I don't know if the first one popped out while I was working on other stuff, but I just pushed it back in. Alright, so probably here and here is where those other 2 go. Let's see. Yep, that's exactly where they go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So a little bit off the edge. Alright. Alright, let's see if we can get that in there. There we go. Again, it's a little bit like sticking out. I guess it's not straight or whatever. Alright, that looks better. That looks good. Still not completely in. But good enough, I guess. Alright, and the last one goes on this side. Got to get it lined up. You can't push with power until it's lined up. I think I made that mistake. Because if you do, you start twisting things. Got to be all lined up. Well, or you could do what I did, which was shove one side in while the other side's not lined up yet. So that's going to create problems. I'm probably going to pull the side that's in out while I'm trying to get this side in. Yeah, that was bad. I cannot explain why I did that. I just was happy that anything was going in. Now look at this. You see that? I broke it. I broke the piece. It's not in. I don't know if I can get it in. I think I got to take it out and reset. Yep. Wow. All right, let's try again. Got to get all 3 pieces in at once. All right, I think we did it that time. Kind of like not totally in yet, but I don't know why we had such a hard time with that last one. All right, now we got to put all those other things back that we took out. How were they even in there? I think it was, this one was here. The gears. We took the gears out. I don't know why, but we did. And now I need to put them back. And put them back in the right places is obviously very important. One thing I remember is that it was like playing music. So if it plays the music, then it's back in the right places, I guess. Alright, was it over here, this one? Yeah. Alright, let's see if that works. See if it plays the music again. There it is. There's the music. Yeah, is it What Childs Is This? Is that what that tune is? You know, sometimes these tunes are used for different songs. Like they could be used for one thing, but also for religious music. I think it's like, what child is this? I'm gonna try to get music on the iPad. Him, child, is this? Is that what that song is? Child is this. How can we make that play? With lyrics. Alright, we gotta get the sound on. Alright. Audio 3, I think it is. Let's see, is that working? I don't hear it. I still don't hear it. Let's see, is that working? Why are we not hearing the music? I don't hear it. Yeah, that was me saying I don't hear it. Alright, so the song is playing, but for some reason we're not hearing it. Oh, I put on HDMI 3. I was supposed to put on HDMI 2. Alright, now it's working. Let's see.
What child is this who lay to rest on Mary's lap is sleeping, whom angels greet with anthems sweet?
I don't think I can get the timing right, but I think it's the same song. Anyway, I think that's what the song is. I'm going to stop this from playing, but I think that's what the song is. And the reason I started bringing this up before was to say that I think I should be talking about the gospel while I assemble these puzzles. Like, I don't know what more I possibly could contribute to this world. And I know that some people would say the exact opposite. Like they'll say, "Who are you to comment on the Bible?" Well, I'll just add the disclaimer that, you know, I'm basically nobody, but you're welcome to listen or not listen. Just, you know, just decide for yourself. Like, I'll read the Bible and then I'll comment on it, but You don't have to believe me. You don't have to think what I think. You can think whatever you want. All right, so did we finish with page 4? Are we on to page 5? What does page 5 look like? I really wanted to do 2 pages tonight, but we're again over an hour. But you know what? Let me see if I can get, it's starting off like building a gear. So the top part of page 5, we're building a gear. And then we're going to trap the gears in. The gears that are like on the bottom here, we're going to trap them in with like this big piece here, number 89. So I think it is a good idea to continue. But first I need to backtrack because I believe that I didn't count 8 pieces. The 5 100s, the 291s, and the 292s. I didn't count any of those. So if I count them, we're up to 94 pieces. So just to keep the piece counter going, up to 94 pieces. And now on page 5, we're starting with 3 pieces, 110, 113, and 114. This is very similar to the other gears that we've built, and those are coming from what page? All right, pages 3 and 4. Specifically, it looks like they come from page 3. So I gotta find page 3. I think we were working on it recently. So is this page 3 or page 4? This is page 3. All right, so 110, 113, and 114. I think it's all going to come from this square here. There's a little square there. It's 110, 113, and 114. Is this big piece 89 also here? Yeah, it is. This is 89 right here. So I'm going to pop out this square, which has all the pieces that we need immediately. But I'm also going to pop out 89 because I know we're going to need that in a minute to lock in all of the gears. And it looks like we're going to build one more gear first before we lock them all in. But I know we're going to need this piece 89. I popped it out, so we should count it, right? So we're now up to 98 pieces. And by the time we finish with this square, we're going to be over 100. I'm just getting really excited about that idea of starting to talk about the gospel because I'm going to turn 50 in, at this point it's exactly a month away. My birthday's September 23rd, and today is, since it's after midnight, today is August 23rd. So I do a daily stream, and if I start talking about the gospel, let's say at least if I start by my birthday, and I live to be 100, and I continue the daily stream, then I could do 50 years of talking about the gospel. I mean, I've had pretty much, I don't know if I've said it on this stream before, but I'm happy with my life in terms of my family and, sort of the big things. But career-wise, I haven't done anything with my life. So, talking about the gospel, I mean, that's what possibly could be better than that. I'm not sure I even could think of anything. I remember when I was a kid, there used to be people who would just like be on street corners or on the subway talking about the gospel, and you don't see it anymore. In fact, I've seen people get arrested for doing that, and I'm not talking about on the internet. Like, I've seen people in real life get arrested for, like, reading the Bible. I probably should have taken note of that when that happened. Like, I complained, and, I would complain, like, the police are the good guys, absolutely. But they shouldn't follow unjust orders. If you're like, someone's telling you to arrest street preachers, they're giving you a bad order. And I know that some people think, oh, you have to do it because if not, then someone else will teach, like, some religion that you disagree with. I don't know what to say about that. Maybe I'll move to a country where everybody's Christian, because I agree with the Bible, and I agree with speaking about the Bible. I don't think there's anything you need to hide. And I'm not sure it would bother me if someone spoke about some other religious work. I mean, I assume that they all kind of have the same idea, like, don't rob, don't steal, don't murder, don't think bad things, try to help people and do charity. I mean, I think, like I don't think I would be offended by someone else reading their works, So if that's the argument, that's not a good argument. Because, one, if I really cared, I could move to a country where everybody's Christian. But two, I just don't think it's going to happen like that. I don't think it's going to be a problem if other people start reading their religious works as well. Like, that's not going to bother me. And by the way, if you pay attention to what they're teaching in schools these days, I mean, it's kind of like religious. I mean, a lot of the stuff they're teaching, whether it's about gender identity or climate change or even the recent pushes for socialized medicine, I mean, it's kind of religious what they're teaching nowadays. Like, I'd rather teach the old school, not even teach, but just like comment on the old school time-tested religions rather than whatever's going on these days. And I'll tell you right now, there's a siren right outside. It's funny, right? Like, I start talking about the Bible, and within 2 minutes now there's a siren outside. I don't want to push my luck, but if we live in a world where people get in trouble with the law for speaking about religion, it's the world that's wrong. Speaking about religion is not wrong. Of course, I'm not totally prepared to do it right now. I'm sort of talking about religion conceptually now, but if you give me a Bible passage to read, I'm sure I'm going to have comments on it. I mean, I have comments on those stupid cards that I pull from the card deck, so you give me, like, the work that's, like, the most read in history, and I'm sure I'm going to have something to say about that. All right, there's the first, like, sort of 3 pieces. Not sure what that looks like. Again, it creates that, like, plus sign that we've been seeing a lot. I mean, it's obviously going to be a gear piece in a minute. Yep, the next thing to do is to load a gear on each end. So they want pieces 116, 111. Those are on the left of this piece, on the left side. And then on the right side, 112, followed by 115 and 99. So that's all the pieces here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all the pieces left on this board. Sorry, it was a little off camera. Anyway, trust me, 5 pieces. That's all we're using. So now we're up to 103 pieces. So we're past 10% of the way done. Let me pop out these 5 pieces. I'll try to keep them in order. The order is 116. By the way, these pieces all need to be sanded and waxed. 112 doesn't specifically say it needs to be waxed, but I'll just do them all. I mean, why would I skip one of the 5? Anyway, sand and wax on all of these pieces. So 116, 111. Next up is 112. No. Yeah, it is 112, which is right here. And then 115, which is the gear. Kind of looks like a saw blade inside of a gear. Last time there was a saw blade, which was here, it turned out to just be decorative. Usually you want to make sure you've got the right orientation, but if it's just decorative, it's not going to matter. All right, and this is done. I can throw this out. Now we got to sand and wax these pieces. All right. So yeah, what's changed in your world since you grew up? Doesn't it seem like... I remember I used to get offended by that song. Not offended, but disagree with that song from Bob Dylan, The Times They Are A-Changin', because I remember thinking like nothing's really changed in the 1960s. I'm not sure that anything has changed now. If you look at the TV, you would have the impression that so much has changed. But it doesn't seem like it changed if you like look out your window or like talk to anybody. Like all the disagreement is like on the TV. I know that the YouTube or the social media, like I know that those videos come from somewhere, but I don't know. I don't think there's a ton of disagreement when you actually talk to people. I think a lot of people agree on almost everything. That's what's just so shocking to me when they run elections, that people can get so fired up because the people agree on everything. Like the politicians find things to disagree on. The politicians seem to disagree with each other, but every like class of politicians keeps making the same mistakes. They tax too much, they build too much bureaucracy, they waste too much money, they don't listen to the people, they don't keep the streets safe. They don't, like, no matter what side the politician comes from, they always make the same mistakes. And no matter what side the people vote for, they usually agree on almost everything. They want their kids to grow up like safe and smart. They want to have the freedom to do what they want. They want the economy to be good. Like, they agree on everything. And I remember when I was a kid, when you watch the political debates, the people in the debates, I just want to point out one quick thing here. There's like lines on this. So let's take a look. We can't see on the picture. Well, it's those lines probably mean something. But the picture is too blurry for me to see. All right, so when I was a kid, the politicians would debate each other. But they were both debating, like, they both sort of agreed on the goal that we want the country to be like stronger, safer, like richer, and they sort of would debate like, how do we go about that? Nowadays, when you watch the debates, it's like they're from two different planets. Like one of them's like, I want to put the country first, and the other one's like, no, I want the borders open, and one's like, I think we should have capitalism driving technology in healthcare, and the other one's like, I think we should have free healthcare for all. And and another one's like, I think that people should pay their debts, and the other's like, no, I think like the plumbers should pay the doctors like college. Like, they really disagree these days. Like, it's not like it like the people still all agree on everything, but the politicians have totally different plans, which makes it confusing to me how the elections are pretty much 50-50, but the party that's not doing anything that people agree with is still winning 50% of the elections. Like, how are they pulling that off? Like, they've got a platform and they're not hiding it, and they disagree with everything that the people want. Like, how are they still a functioning party? All right, so we built that gear. So I guess it's that gear is now going to go into here. We can kind of guess, like, is there an open circle? I see an open circle there. You think it's going to go there? And then we're going to put this on top, and it's going to lock all those gears in. If all goes well, let's see. All right. So we're not doing anything with that gear. What I think is that gear does go in there, and they just didn't put it in the instruction book. Let's take a closer look here. So we build the rod, we add the gears, we take a look at it. Now there's no arrow showing us what comes next. But if we scroll back to the left side, now we see this piece being put on top. But what happened to the gear that we just built? Where is that gear? I'm looking for it to show up here. I don't see it. What are we doing with that gear? Okay, there it is. All right, so there's going to be 2 layers that go on top. And that gear goes on the second layer. So, all right. So we don't need this for the moment, but we are going to need it soon. What we need at the moment is this piece. And this is going to lock in all of these gears somehow. Let's very carefully study the picture. All right, so let's match their orientation. So they have the player piano over here. They got the brains here. These are just my nicknames for these pieces. It's kind of flopping around. It's supposed to be straight, but it's kind of flopping around. Okay. It's flopping around because it's touching the ground on the other side. So I'm going to lift this whole piece up, put it on jacks. So now we can get the pieces to go fall straight down. And now we have to get this on. And this is an asymmetric piece, so we have to be very careful. I think it goes like this. If you look at this curve here, there's like 4 circles, a curve, and then a 5th circle. I think the curve, well, you know what's really gonna sort this out? When we start putting it on, these circles are gonna line up with those gears. That's what's really gonna, I think, happen. So let's study the picture again. All right, yeah, that's what's gonna happen. And I think it's also gonna, remember those like pieces that we put at the bottom? Those like 110 and whatever. Those 100, 91, and 92. It's going to attach to those pieces. All right, so I think I'm just going to hold it this way. We need to have it on the jacks to keep these pieces straight. The brains piece is very low. This piece is completely off target. Okay. Okay. Remember that piece where we put the top on? It was too early to put that top on. This top goes on the other side of this. So even though they showed it in the picture with this top on, it doesn't get on until it goes here. So these two pieces come off. Wow. And then it goes into which circle? This circle? And then those pieces go back on. I don't know if it makes sense to put them on now or to line the piece up first. I just put them on now. All right. Maybe that was a mistake. We're going to find out. Okay. Let's get these all lined up. All right. I feel like all of these need to go up here. They need to go through the top. This is not easy. Lining these all up is not easy. I'm not sure where to even start. Is it like a good idea to make this connection if I can? I feel like I have to do something. I have to make some connection somewhere. Wow, it's a lot that needs to line up to make this happen. Like once it's on there, it's going to be very helpful. But I don't know how to get it on there. Wow. All right. I think that brains piece has to be fed in as well. I wish that they all would feed through. It would make it easier. About that religion, I had this thought lately. I hope this is not an anti-religious thought, but I was thinking like the people trying to run the world these days, they're always asking you to believe several inconsistent things at the same time. The people who asked you, who tried to run the world, the previous like centuries and millennia, they only asked you to believe some very big things. Basically, the current people who run the world, they want you to learn a whole new set of things, like a whole new set of facts, like every year, and stay up to date with them. Whereas it used to be, you could study something, you know, and you knew it, and it would serve you like for the rest of your life. I'm pausing because this cutout here confuses me. Okay, I see what's going to happen. That 91, whatever that piece was called, is going to go in there. Got to get it lined up first. but then it will. We're getting there. So, the old world, you had to believe, like, God created the world and He's watching you, and if you're good, you'll go to heaven. Like, something like that. Whereas the new world, you have to believe, like, everything they tell you, and it's constantly changing. Like, what they told you last year, it's like not the case this year. And what they tell you this year, it's like not going to be the case next year. It's just really confusing. Like, really, like, a lot of wasted effort. I'm saying I like the old system better. And I'm calling it a system because, I mean, I would like to call it like an act of faith. I personally have faith, but there's always going to be people who want to run the world. And they're always going to need some game plan. And I'm just saying, when their game plan was, believe this easy to understand concept that never changes, it was like much easier to run the world. Now it's like, it's just never ending BS nowadays. I'm not saying it wasn't BS in the old world, but it was more consistent and easier to understand. I don't know what's the word. I don't want to use the word BS, but easier to understand set of facts. Whether you thought those facts were true or not, sort of irrelevant, like not the point of this discussion. It's like it was easier. There was less. The concepts were simpler and bigger. It's like really complex and changing, constantly changing world that we live in today. It's like, do you want everything to be so difficult? Wow, these pieces are flaking rather than going in. I don't know that I've got any of this in. And I see that on the monitor that all you're seeing is the back of my hand. I'm trying to get all of these gears locked in at once, because that's what the instructions say to do. But that's not so easy to do. Not as easy as it sounds or seems or whatever. And there's also a bunch of tabs. Not only are there like 8 tabs going around the edge, there are a bunch of tabs in the middle. But if we get it, if we get this all on, then all these gears are going to line up. Wouldn't that be nice? I got a couple of them on. But we got a lot more to go. Why won't this one go on? Alright. Time to break out the heavy artillery. This piece is going in here. Whether it wants to or it doesn't want to. It's going in. Did I just break it? Wow. These pieces just don't want to go in. Is there something else that's catching somewhere else? Alright, that was on. What is stopping here? You get one on, and another one pops off. And you gotta go figure out what's going on with that one. feel like it's buckling in the middle here. But why? What's causing that? Come on. Wow, this is buckled so bad in the middle. What is causing that? Are these... This is out. This is definitely out. Gotta get that lined up. Okay. Drive that in. Alright, that's good. This one's out. What about this one? This one's out too. That's the buckling. These pieces are not in. They're not going through. This piece, it's not in. See that? It's like, I don't know why it's not going in. Seems like it should. Oh man, this piece. Okay, that's what's stopping it. The brains. The brains were blocking it. Alright, now it's in. Alright. It's looking pretty good now, all of a sudden. Not completely, but it's getting there. This one is still off, and this middle is still buckled. I thought I solved the problem. Yeah, what's the problem? That's still out, huh? It's lined up. It's not blocked. I'm starting to wonder if maybe this does go underneath. You know, remember I took that out and thought I took this piece out and put it on top? Maybe that was wrong. That was kind of an assumption. No, it does go on top. Yeah, 99 and 120. Alright, they go on top. Alright, I don't know what the problem is. It's supposed to go in. Buckling is close to breaking. So, we need to solve this. Otherwise, it's going to break. Alright. This might be done. I'm just like kind of double checking everything. Oh, these middle ones. Oh, come on. This guy is, for some reason, not going in. Either at the top. Oh, did that just go in? Oh, his other half didn't go in. Alright. Now it did. But now this is off. Alright, now that's on. We're suddenly looking good. Alright. Let's see if we can get everything nice and tight. That was a good one. The wood broke. I mean, it went in, but it broke some. Did a little damage going in, but it went in. It did a little damage on the way in, but I think we're good. That was not easy. That was not fun. But we did it. Why is this one blank? Because there's another hole at the bottom. I wonder if we were supposed to put that in there, in which case we have to take it apart and do everything over again. Or maybe it's going to drop in from up here. That would be nice. It fits, I'll tell you, it fits there. It fits perfectly there. Hopefully that's what it's supposed to do. Let's advance the instructions and see. Okay. So we already did this because for some reason we figured that out. And then we dropped this in, which nobody told us to do. We don't know if that's right or wrong. Over here is supposed to go two pieces, 162 and 163. And then after that, yes, this piece was correct. Yeah, that piece was correct. We did that right. All right. And then there's 4 pins, 93 times 4, and a piece called 90. And then what is this? 81 and 153? Where's that now? Where's that go? I don't know where that pin is that they're attaching it to. No idea. Oh, it's these pieces. Is it? I'm not sure. All right, let's take a look. What is that? I think maybe it's something, I don't know. Let's just go one section at a time. I don't know what's going on there. But this piece is right, and this piece is right. And this will be right when we add 162 and 163. So let's do that before we go crazy trying to figure out what we did wrong when possibly nothing's wrong. So 162 and 163, that brings us up to 105 pieces. 162 and 163. Are they in this corner here? No, they're not. Probably on another board. All right, 156, 157, 168, 180, 162, and 163. They're just locking pins. Locking nuts. 162 and 163. Actually, they're going to be more than that. They want them to be sanded and waxed. So they're more than just locking nuts. Look at that. Definitely needs to be sanded and waxed. We got splinters everywhere. Splinters everywhere. But at least we're going to get 2 pages done tonight. We're not giving up till we get that second page. Okay, the one... Did I send them both? Yeah. The one with the dots, is that 162 or 163? I lost track. And this picture is not clear. All right. The one with the dots goes at the bottom. The one with the... one has dots, one has lines. I think the one with dots goes on the bottom and the one with the lines goes on the top. But I'm not really sure. I think that's right. It's all waxed up. All right. Now, we need 4 pins. 93 times 4. And some big piece called 90. So that's going to bring us up to 110 pieces. Those should come from 3. Where are the pins? Do you see the pins there? I don't see it. Let's check board 3, but I do not see the pins. This is board 4. Let's see if the pins are here. 93? No, no pins here. The other pieces are 81 and 153. That should be here, right? I see a lot of 150 pieces. I see 152. There's 153. And there's 81 right next to it. So we'll grab those two pieces. That brings us to 112. I know that we still need to grab the 4 93s and 90. But I had this board in my hand, so we grabbed 80 and 153. Yeah, 153. Which is this huge gear. Not huge, but large. Large gear. Now, piece 90 is a big piece. It's not quite as big as this piece, but it's a similar idea. I guess it's like the second floor or third floor or whatever. I'm going to need to sand that piece as well. And now we need the 93s, which are these. Wow, another piece just fell out. Another big piece just fell out. The big pieces fall out, and the 93s, these little pieces, they don't fall out. We need 4 93s, by the way. There's only 2 of them here. I don't know where the other 2 are. But they got to be somewhere. Oh, are they back to back? Like, is that... No, that's not really. I thought for a second that maybe that was 2 of them. But it's not. Alright, here's 2 more 93s right there. And another piece just pops out. Why do I keep popping out not the pieces I want, but other pieces? Alright, ton of splinters on this. Ton of splinters. Big ones too. Okay. Alright, where does this go? So we have to put it on top of this, obviously, and these 4 pins go in it. I'm not really sure where these 4 pins go. Let's take a close look here. Okay, if we match the orientation from the picture, how do we do that? Does this look right? 1, 2, 3 notch. Yeah, that looks good. All right, so this corner gets a pin. This corner gets a pin. And then there and there. So I don't know why it's not the 4 corners. It's like 3 corners and that one. So that's where the pins go. That's where the 93s go. So I forgot already. Okay, yeah. Right here. So first one here. 1. Second one here. 2. 3. Now what if this picture's wrong? Like there's 2 more tabs. They seem to want the piece here. But like if they're wrong and I gotta pull it out, that's gonna screw things up. But let's hope they're right, because it's not a guarantee they are, even though it's the instructions. They're not always right. All right, there we go. Now this goes together with this piece that we already put in. Okay. Let's get our construction to match their angle. That's going to help us to understand what goes where. All right, so now it goes like this. And this gear goes to, I think, this circle. Yeah, like 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then what about these 4 pins? I don't know. I guess when we start lining it up, it'll become obvious. Yeah, exactly. It does. So we just go slow and make sure everything's lined up. We're not going to force anything. But this one's already there. Okay, so that's why we didn't put one there. Yep, there's 2 already there. So that makes sense. Similar to the previous piece, it's kind of tough. There's a lot of resistance. The pieces that you're locking in, they need to be lined up. If not, they create resistance, and we get this buckling, which we have again. I mean, we're going to get through it, but it's just going to take a second to figure out, you know, where everything goes. I think we're good. I think we can push them on now. I mean, by good, I mean, I think we got everything lined up, ready to be squeezed on. Well, that went bad because I tried to squeeze this on and instead I pulled that off. So let's do the middle first. And let's just push down. Let's not pull up. That was a mistake. We're just going to push down. There actually should be like a 1/4 inch of space there. So we're only pushing down. And don't push down too hard or you'll start breaking pieces because, you know, they're just little flimsy wooden pieces. You push too hard, they're going to break. That looks like something's missing from there. I think maybe something just not built yet. We can't get to the music anymore unless this will this play the music? Well, it takes a lot of strength to play it from here. Yeah, I can't do it. Maybe... All right, here we go. From here, we can play the music. Well, I thought we could. It kind of jammed. I don't want to break these gears. There we go. So it still plays the music, and in fact, it plays louder now. These like screens, they're creating like a echo, or they're basically speakers. I mean, we're thinking of them as screens, but they're speakers. When we build that whole house, it's going to echo and it's going to come out these screens. This is suddenly becoming a more interesting puzzle. As soon as we discovered that player piano, I got more interest in this puzzle. Now that I see that we're creating acoustics for that, it's even becoming even more interesting. And the gears, as you saw, worked. So this is going to be a good puzzle. All right, we still got to deal with these 2 pieces. We got to sand and wax them, place them. I guess they're going to go here, right? I mean, sticking out like a sore thumb. And it looks like exactly the size to fit the pieces we have, but we haven't read the instructions yet, so I don't know. All right, sand and wax them. Just give me a minute to get these all waxed. Did anyone see the conspiracy videos about Maui? They're basically, okay, why is the sky blue? You know that the sky is blue, right? And there's all sorts of reasons, but the new one that comes into play with Maui is, have you ever seen electrical sparks? Okay, how about this one? why is Dr. Manhattan blue? The sky is blue. Dr. Manhattan is also blue. And Dr. Manhattan, he can program the Earth. He has like programmatic control of Earth. This is in the movie Watchmen. There's this character, Dr. Manhattan, who he's like basically like an apparition. He's like non-corporal, but he's blue when you see him. Sky blue. So in this new conspiracy theory, not conspiracy theory, just I don't know what you want to call it. These new videos about Maui, they're not really about Maui, they're just speculation. I guess conspiracy theory is kind of the closest word for it. So anyway, these two pieces that we waxed, which are 81 and 153, they are going to go right on here as we predicted. So anyway, people will show these videos of these lasers that can affect the world. So like the same way Dr. Manhattan can affect the world. But you can't see them because they're blue. Like, because the sky is blue. But, you know, you could extend the theory to say, why is the sky blue? What if it's all programmable? What if it's all electrical? Lightning is kind of like blue sometimes. Anyway, we've reached the end of today. We've reached page 6. I wasn't going to go any further than this, although I think we were about to get on a pretty good theory there with the blue light, but our time is done. We're not gonna do page 6 today, although I'm glad that we got 2 pages today. And I'm glad that this player piano is becoming quite heavily featured. It's like, I was worried that it was going to be like nothing, but it turns out it's actually quite relevant. Let's see. Let's try to play that player piano a little bit more. It's tough to play from this thing. It was easier when we cranked it directly. You know what is a problem is the gears make noise. They're competing with the music. Anyway, I don't know really where this puzzle is going. We know that when it's done, it's going to look like this castle. But obviously it's going to be that music is very important to this puzzle. I don't think looking at this picture we see anything that looks like what we built. I think what we built here, it's purely guts. I don't think it's the drawbridge. I think it's literally the music box. I don't know. You know, join me tomorrow. We'll see where this goes. I'm John Rapp. This is just Rest Your Eyes. Good night and see you tomorrow.